4 things you're probably not preparing before every single call that might actually be costing you some deals. I call it the sales tape: tone, attention, pace, and energy. And let's talk about what each of those is. Tone. How am I going? What mood am I in today? How am I channeling? Right? How did I wake up? The right side of the bed, the wrong side of the bed? What's going on in my life? How do I get centered? How do I just get relaxed and ready? And then what is this interaction? Am I going into negotiation? Is this discovery? All those types of things. What is that tone that I have to implore? Do I need to be a little bit more stern? Is there some conflict here? Get a hold of how you're feeling in the day and what the best tone is going to be for your particular interaction that's coming up. Second, attention. There are things that you're going to want to get across in this conversation. There are things that they are going to want to get across. Those 2 things cannot happen at the same time. So make sure you pay attention to where your attention is. It has to be 100% focused on them as they speak. And it has to be deliberate and intentional as we pause, reflect on what they say, and respond appropriately. So pay attention to the attention you place on what they say and what they do. And remember, not all of these things are verbal. A lot of these are going to be how they move, how they lean, where their head looks, all these different types of things. Pay attention to their tone and their affect, how they're coming across. The third is pace. You have a set amount of time. If you've watched our prior videos, you understand how important it is to have requested and solidified the right amount of time based on your experience in knowing how long this conversation should take. Because this will give you the opportunity to talk at a pace where they can understand what you say, where words are easily disseminated. Nothing is misinterpreted. You have time to explore and go to depth in the areas that you need to. You have time to actually get something done. And the fourth is energy. We have to bring every ounce that we have to these calls. We should be excited that we get to spend more time with this person, that they may be considering our solution or service, or maybe they have reached out because they value our expertise somewhere and we want to make good on what they've heard about us, and that we want to send them on their way better off than when we started out. So that energy has to match that. Show them that this interaction matters tremendously to you. Because if they're a prospective customer, if they're a current customer, if they're a past customer, if they're a happy or upset customer, this interaction matters to them. And even though you have it every single day and maybe multiple times a day, think of yourself as a magician. They've done the trick 1,000,000 times. But for that child in the audience that may be attending their first magic show, how that magician performs that trick is going to be a lasting impression of how that child remembers this entire experience for their life. You have to be as excited to do the trick a 10,000th time as you were the first time you got it right. And so the energy matters tremendously. And here's the best thing about the tape: tone, attention, pace, and energy. Because at the end of the call, when you're in your recording software, when you're in your sales engagement software and you're listening to this call back, or when your enablement team pulls you in for a coaching session, which I hope they do from time to time, you'll be able to look at your tape. What was your mood like? How did you start the call? How much attention did you pay to what they said? Or were you already thinking of where you were going to take the conversation next? How quickly or slowly were you talking, and how did that impact their responses, their tone, their body language? And then what kind of energy did you bring to that interaction that allowed them to maybe bring a little bit more or invoke a little bit more out of them? You'll find that if you struggle with the structural parts of a conversation like discovery or a demo, where the questions matter, the points you make, the stories you tell, the differentiators you share all matter, getting your sales tape right is one way to kind of not show as many bubbles getting to the surface. And that's going to lead to a smoother experience for your customer and for yourself, and much clearer outcomes on where to take it next for maximizing your success. Hope these helps. prepare your tape, and then roll it back afterwards. Enjoy, everybody.